What is up, everyone? Welcome to His Avenue. My name is Darren. So I've been thinking and kind of looking around in our comic section, and it looks like a lot of our subscribers don't really read outside of the Marvel DC camp in terms of comic books, and which is totally fine because this is a comic book movie news channel. We only talk about DC and Marvel because they're the only ones that make movies, but there are other comic book brands out there that are just as sophisticated and just as even probably more mature than DC and Marvel. And so I kind of want to make this video because I've been there. When I first started reading comic books, I only read Marvel and DC, but it wasn't until I started feeling fatigued of these overpowered storylines where it's like world ending, good versus evil, that I started wanting to explore other genres or other comic book brands such as Image Comics. Image Comics, they focus purely on indie artists or indie comic books, and they don't really do DC or Marvel's storylines. But that's when when I started exploring Image Comics, that's when I started realizing that damn, these books are really sophisticated, and the level of sophistication people don't realize it's actually there. So if you just box yourself in by just reading Marvel and DC, I feel like you're leaving so much potential on the table. And yeah, I want to make a list to help you guys on my top 5 favorite Image books that have an effect on me that I could actually remember. It's been a while since I've read comic books, honestly, because I've been busy with work. But the ones that I do remember and had an effect on me, I put it into a list to help you guys explore other books. So I hope you guys walk away with at least one book that I was able to convince you to read or even pick up at your local comic book store. All right, so I'm gonna do this top 5 in 3 minutes. I'm gonna set my timer real quick, and hopefully I don't fuck up. All right. All right, 3, 2, 1. Alright, so my first book that I want to talk about is called Fatale. It is a crime horror genre written by Ed Brubaker, drawn by Sean Phillips. This duo is amazing. It's basically the next duo next to Grant Morrison and Frank Quietly. This book revolves around a woman called Josephine, or also known as Jo, and she has a power that hypnotizes men to fall in love with her even though she doesn't want them to. And this book has this book takes place in the 1950s to the 1970s, and it has a bunch of satanic symbolism. It has cults following her, and it has a lot to do with Hollywood as well. And this book has a lot of, this book has a lot of crazy stuff in it, but what Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips is able to do, it really pops out and it really gives that authentic crime feel to it. So if you love crime story, this is definitely a book to pick up. And the art in this is amazing. Dave Stewart, the colorist, really does make the image pop as well, and it makes it really expressive and moody. Alright, so the next book that I want to talk about is called Kill or Be Killed. This is one of probably the most recent books that I've read from Ed Brubaker. This is also drawn by Sean Phillips himself. This book follows Dylan, who is a college grad. He's lonely. The girl he loves is sleeping with his roommate, and he spends the night hearing them have sex on the next door to him. And one day he gets visited by Satan, and Satan gives him a task saying, you must kill one person every month or you die. So he's the first month he tries to resist and not kill anyone, but he finds himself feeling sick and almost near death, and so he kills someone that is worth being killed. So he finds a bad guy and he kills him, and this adventure really makes him feel more alive, and he starts becoming his own person, and he starts not giving a fuck, really. And yeah, it's a really great book. If you love Ed Brubaker, this is definitely something that I definitely recommend if you are kind of hesitant on jumping the ship from DC or Marvel. Alright, so the next book I want to talk about is written by Mark Miller. This is called Reborn. I talked about it in my previous video, but it follows a lady called Bonnie who dies. She's an old lady, and she dies and goes to an afterworld, and it's a very barbaric world where, you know, these people are there, and she sees all of her old friends and relatives that pass away, and they celebrate her coming, but they see her as the princess, and these people have been waiting for her whole life. It's a great book, definitely a fantasy book if you want to pick this up. The next book I want to talk about is called Saga, written by Brian K. Vaughan. Oh god, I'm gonna miss it. Okay. Total fail. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I could not do this without passing the 3-minute mark. But I want to continue on. I totally failed. But let me continue, because Saga is worth mentioning in this list. Saga, if you guys haven't heard, is written by Brian K. Vaughan, and it follows a couple that come from different worlds, and they're on the run. The characters Lana and Marco, and they both have a child, and they both have a bounty on them, and they're on the run, and the entire comic book is them running around and people chasing them, and it's a very fantasy storyline. You know, one of the main bad guys has a TV on his head, and yeah, it's pretty crazy. I think if you guys are into fantasy books and just want to see other worlds, Saga is that book to read. I love Saga so much. I kind of stopped reading it because it was too much for my budget at the time, but I do see myself buying an omnibus at some point in the future. But yeah, definitely something to think about if you guys want to explore other genres. And yeah, it's very imaginative, creative. It's pretty crazy stuff. So the last book that I want to talk about is basically a reverse Batman storyline. It's called Nemesis, written by Mark Miller. It follows a guy named Matt Anderson, who he is a billionaire, but when he was a child, his dad died. He actually committed suicide after a cop was like on pursuit of him because he was like a runaway teenager, and so throughout his life he kind of trained and wanted to get revenge from this cop, and so he dresses up in all white and he just kills everyone to kill this one cop for revenge. And it is a really twist on the Batman lore, and it's very gory, very bloody, and very violent. But it's something to definitely explore if you are a huge Batman fan. Nemesis is something that you should definitely pick up, just to see what it would look like if Batman turned bad. All right, so that's my list, my top 5. I'm sorry I failed the 3 minutes, but I know I didn't really explain it that well because I was rushing down this list to meet that 3-minute mark, but unfortunately I failed. But these books are definitely something you should consider picking up in the comic book store next time you visit next week. So let me know in the comments below which other image books that you recommend other people to read that is not on this list. Let me know in the comments below. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.